Sony, you never cease to amaze me, and it never ceases to amaze myself on how right I am. So, as you read by the title, the PlayStation Vita is essentially officially dead now? Is that what it'd be called? Officially dead now? Pretty sure the Sony CEO, his name is Andrew something, whatever his name is, I really don't care at this point in time, said that the PlayStation Vita is basically a legacy platform. If you don't know what that is essentially the PSP, the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2, basically consoles that no longer are supported outside of very few countries, and also consoles that are no longer supported in general. Obviously, consoles like the PS2 and the PlayStation 1 are no longer supported, but the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, is still being supported somewhat in Japan. A couple of games to release for that platform, and that is essentially what's going to be happening to the Vita. Now, if you read the article I'm going to be leaving down in the description below, they came out there and tried to do some damage controlling, and I really just think this is just damage controlling. It's all bullshit. All they said was that they meant that the original PlayStation Vita is becoming a legacy platform. You know, the one with the better screen is no longer being supported, which, yeah, you confirmed that about, what, a year ago when the new PlayStation Portable came out. So it wouldn't make sense that you guys would have to come out in there and say again that the PlayStation Portable is the PlayStation Vita is no longer being supported. So obviously, I think they meant, you know, the PlayStation Vita as a whole thing is just no longer being supported outside of Japan and Asia, which would make sense if you think about it. The sales weren't horrible, they just weren't as high as they needed them to be. The console wasn't selling like hotcakes like the PlayStation 4 is. The PlayStation 4 surpassed the PlayStation Vita's sales within its first year. So I understand why they would want to support the Vita less, but overall, not supporting it is probably not the best idea. I mean, if you think about it, there are roughly around 13 to 14 million Vita owners out there, probably most of them being in Japan. And if you just cut most support, you get less money for the console, and etc, the domino effect, and less Vitas are going out there, and eventually it'll fall off. Essentially, the Vita is the Dreamcast. If you guys don't know what the Dreamcast was all about, the Dreamcast was a very good console that just came out at the wrong time. It's a good console that came out at the wrong time, and I've heard some people make this argument saying that the Vita came out 2 years earlier, 2 years or 3 years earlier, right when the life cycle for the PSP just ended. Essentially, what you would have had is a much different effect. More people would be interested in it, because the PS Vita, when it first came out, was the same price, or even I think more expensive than the PlayStation 3, which didn't make any sense in the first place. And it boasted about having these graphics that are comparable to the PlayStation 3, yet didn't have the games to support its claims. So ultimately what you had is a problem that you couldn't fix, and that people would be a lot more interested in it if it came out at the right time. I still think the PlayStation Vita is the single best PlayStation portable platform to play on. I think it is. It doesn't have the games to support that claim, of course, and obviously they stopped developing for the game totally in the West. It's all been indies and JRPGs, and that's about it for the last, was it 2 years till things came out. So essentially it was bound to happen. I still think they just meant the Vita in general was no longer being supported, and then we go, yeah, it's still being supported. They can say that technically because it's being supported in Asia and Japan, and of course the indies will probably start coming out for whatever any developer wants to develop for the console. But overall, I don't think Sony's going to come out with any more updates, even though the Vita is still plagued with a whole bunch of problems that needs to be fixed. You know, the freezing on the original Vita, and even though they just updated the RAM, there's still a whole bunch of games they broke with that update because a whole bunch of games weren't made to be updated with the RAM. And no developer's going to go back there and update their game after, what is it, like 2, 3, 4 years after the console has just came out. So I was expecting this to happen. Every time I talk to somebody about the Vita recently, I've been saying, if you're gonna get the Vita, you should know it's a dying console, and that it's just not being supported the way people would want it to be, the way I would love it to be. But you know what? Let's just wait for E3 when, like I said in my E3 prediction video, when they don't talk about the Vita at all, because I don't think they are going to do it at all, then we'll just see. So thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and are now updated on the whole PlayStation Vita thing again. The damage controlling was pretty stupid. I still think they're just killing it off. So yeah, I'm out. Peace.